but it was something I was messing around with, and Warlock or War Skull would get most of the cheap shots, and I'd open with Garrotes and whatnot for more damage. But in the end, it equated like 300 more damage on a Garrote for 5 points. Just figured it wasn't really worth it, you know. So, besides, it really sucked for dueling, and you know me, big EP. So now we're just same thing, CCing one of the targets, the Rogue, who's already trinketed, Fear to blind, to sap, to re-fear, killing the mage. And these guys, I mean, these guys are, you know, currently, of the competitive Rogue Mage Priest teams out there, them and Wild Crusader teams are the two highest rated and the two most competitive. And one of the really big strengths of this Rogue Roguelike comp is that it just rocks Rogue Mage Priest most of the time. And really the only way they're going to have a real chance is to basically play with the Dwarf Priest, and a good one at that. Because even the teams that do play with the Dwarf Priest, they can force us into 1v1s, they can beat us sometimes, but I haven't come across a single Rogue Mage Priest that's been able to beat us more than 20% of the time. So that's one of the strengths of this comp, is because it counters one of the most popular comps in all battle groups. And that's why if you play it well, you know, you can do really well with this team. That's the Garrote spec that I had spec'd. I've actually spec'd out of it at this point. This is a Warrior Druid Priest, a complete counter comp to us. We've only played them once. This is the one time we've played them. And honestly, if they knew what was coming, they will never lose to us again, most likely. They don't know what to expect. You know, they've never played us before, and that's one thing that this team kind of relies on. It's one of the things it'd be good to switch to in a tournament or something, but not play it. This is the only comp the entire tournament, because people are going to figure it out. But I find the Druid in stealth, and we're going to take advantage of this opportunity here. I'm going to open on him, and we're just going to try to Zerk down this Druid and CC the Priest. And you just need to watch Hips right now, because he's just dominating this Priest. Pain Suppression, he Death Calls the Priest, gets a Fear on the Priest, Tongues is on the Priest, we're raping the Priest, then I follow with a Blind, and by that time, there's a Spell Lock, now there's a Blind, now the Druid's going to die. Just, you know, Hips plays his role in the team as supplemental damage, but primarily CC really, really well. You know, as a Warlock, you know, you need to know what your role is, and just like with every class, depending on who you're playing with. And Hips knows what his role is. And I think his time playing in twos with me has really helped him here. Right here, this Priest gets this focus G heal, which is amazing. Like, War Skull and I had some bad bad communication there, and we just let it go through, but it was pretty nasty. Now the Priest is going to go down, and this is an opportunity. This team could beat us right now. But the Warrior makes a mistake of pulling out a Sword and Board, which when he did that, I immediately said, okay, they lose now. Because there's no way he's going to drop both of us with a Sword and Board out. Both a two-hander, a couple Whirlwind crits, and a couple Lucky Mace stuns, he could definitely have beaten us. His biggest challenge would have been Cheat Death, but he definitely has no chance right now with this. This is Carousel. This team's like number 8, still currently. They're over 2,300. Rogue Mage Priest. They're playing with the Dwarf Priest. They're a little bit different. I sap the Mage, get on the Priest, open up with dots. He should have Stone Formed a bit earlier. And we get an exposed arm, start going to town here. Hips counters the first Sheep, which means they don't have as much appeal as they should. Now we're going to force the Rogue to Trinket here. And then once the Priest is dead, I'm going to go ahead and I tried to kick the water, and I actually missed it. He's a little bit slow. But I'm going to sap the Rogue. Then I'm going to Shadow Step and Garrote this Mage. So I actually do that all game. Like all throughout this movie, I'm always Shadow Step Garroting and stuff like that, because that's just like what I was doing with that spec. I just wanted to get more Garrotes off, and the silence is good. Better than Cheap Shot? Probably not overall, and I've changed it. It really just depends on what the diminishing is at the moment, but I'm just going to finish off dupes them. These guys are pretty popular, and they transfer from another battle group, and they're a great team too. This is a Hunter Warlock Druid. This is also a complete and utter counter comp to us, and we've lost this team a number of times. They've tanked us pretty hard in the past. There's just not much we can do when they play well. I try to Shadow Step him with Sap, that Warlock, but with the Flare, you know, it's just not completely reliable. I blind him out of that Halaterra because he's sitting there casting it, waiting to let it go. It's ridiculous. It's extreme cheese, but it's what you got to do. But we get on this Druid right away. Follow kidneys to Death Coil, and he just drops. What's amazing about this though is like we could still lose because Hunters are so I don't know. I don't want to say overpowered because I'll probably get flamed, but yes, they're absolutely overpowered. You know what? I don't even care. They're utterly overpowered at the moment, and their damage is completely through the roof, and there's no reason why that class should be able to do the kind of damage it does. I mean, it makes me think of, in 2s, Hips and I would Rogue Warlock play against a Hunter Priest team, and the two of us together would die, and at the end of the game, the Hunter would have done more damage than a Rogue and a Warlock combined. And we're trying to stand on top of him the whole time. That's what's so amazing, you know. But that's a completely different rant. That's not what this movie's about.
1600 gold for
and as we set free and well, another soldier has to yell, tell my wife and children I love them in his last.
Now, the next portion of the movie is basically going to be the portion of the movie where it's going to have duels and whatnot. I wasn't planning on initially incorporating it, but I decided to do it because I enjoy this song, and I wanted to talk about some of these duels. Also, for some reason, I don't know how Ming has done it, but this notion that Happy Minty can't duel, he's only world PvP or some bullshit is just kind of ridiculous. You notice here that I cloak right after the stun. It's not necessarily to prevent the fear, it's actually to eat that reflective shield damage, because that reflective shield is what's going to eat you up, and you've got to keep yourself above a certain amount, and you got to try to keep pressure on this priest throughout the entire game. Otherwise, they're going to go offensive on you. So right now I actually got faked, tried to gouge out the flash, but was unfortunate there. So I decided to burn the blind to prevent him getting the G heal. He's getting away from me. But fortunately, Shadow Step, you know, while it's not the best spec for dueling Reflective Shield Priest because you don't have the offensive powers of the specs, it really is pretty offensive, and you can see that I'm keeping on his heels this entire game. Now, I know this is fairly common, I'm trying to outrange it, but I still eat it. The advantage is, though, is that I move so far away from him that I'm actually going to be able to re-stealth, because I just run directly away from him. And this is kind of where the fight changes, the momentum changes here in the fight. Able to get a Sap bandage off. Now, after the Sap bandage, you'll notice that well, his trinket's on, of course, and I know that it is. I'll go cheap shot the kidney. I won't even put up an expose immediately, and the reason being is because his fear is going to be up again. So I just want to put in as much damage before I eat that fear, because that fear is pretty much inevitable. And there's nothing I can really do against a good priest to avoid it unless I resist it. So here it comes. Put up an expose first, so that when I get back on him, the pressure's going to be up again. And now he's on the defensive. I get feared way out of range again, which is good for me. And I actually try to re-stealth in between dot, take Shadow Step to him and Cheap Shot, and it would have been absolutely gorgeous, except he resisted the Cheap Shot. Now he's putting up the Reflective Shield again, and I'm going to lock down his heals, put him on the defensive once again. Now you can see my blinds coming back up, and that's kind of the key to this fight, and I'm like, oh, I gotta keep him off until blind comes up, and you watch him spamming it, and as soon as it comes up, he comes out of gouge and gets the pet up. Really sucked. But I do pop evasion, try to dodge some of the pet hits to prevent his mana regeneration, and commence with the fight here. Now there's his pain suppression, and I'm locking him down again. Now my trinket's back up and it's over, because there's nothing he can do once the second trinket comes up, and I still got this much health up. So he goes for the focus G heal, I kick it after the trinket, and it's over. Next fight's against the mage selects. He's a really good spec for dueling rogues. He's really deep frost, over 55 in frost, or 55 in frost or so. And he's also, without a doubt, one of the best mages I've ever played against. He actually, I mean, I opened with Groat, miss, Shiv, miss. I mean, that's like the worst opener you could possibly get. But I still pull through this time, even though when I have good openers, I sometimes lose. So, he really is plays well. And look at this. I'm in his party apparently, so he can see me when I vanish, which kind of sucks. So like everything's kind of going wrong here. But just watch how I'm trying to, like, instead of killing the elemental like a lot of people do, this time I decided I was gonna leave it be. I was just gonna lock it down. And that's kind of my goal right now, is to do whatever I can to lock down this elemental. I vanish it, I gouge it, I kick it. Now I'm gonna blind it in a second, so it doesn't even get that off. Now Selects, he's got mana gem up, but I Shadow Step Kidney him before he can get that mana gem off. And that duel's over.